Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producer, not for long, is here. We are driving her. Oh, man, we are really getting her today.
Okay,
I'm going to talk about you guys in my therapy session today.
Well, no, don't waste your therapy session on us.
Yeah, you got so much more.
Use that for your family.
I'm over all that.
Well, you could get to us in a couple of years, but do your family right now.
So, anyway, we've been, I like to talk to other content providers that do like their own.
You like to have other people do our content for us.
Yes, yeah. That, and I'm interested in all these people that do their own media.
You just want to know what they make.
Yeah. That's that.
You want people to do our show to eat up content, and you want to know if they're rich.
That's basic. If that's the
Am I right
Cliff
or wrong?
Notes. That's the overall gist. But anyway. So we've been interviewing these YouTubers and podcasters and influencers. So anyway, Samantha did tell me, like, all right, this is the next interview and stuff. And then
He starts zoning me out about 3 words in.
Okay, well, then we have our guest on Skype.
Yeah,
and
he
then
called in.
You were like, what's your last name? You're like, what happened now?
Well, okay, so our guest is on. Should we pull him up?
Yeah.
Okay, our guest is up. I'm just going to call him Mark.
Yeah, Mark's good.
Yeah, there's Mark. You can see him.
Yes.
And so I asked her, I'm like, what's this going? And she's like, this is Mark. It's Mark Saustache. And I'm like, well, what's his last name? And she's like, that's the thing. I don't really know it. There's not a lot about it, but he just uses Saustache. And I'm like, so I said, okay, fine, Saustache. That's what I go with. She's like, that's what we go with. He has a YouTube channel. He takes recipes and makes them veganly delicious, right?
Yeah.
Vegan recipes that you cook up. And I'm like, okay, this sounds great. So I sat down and I go, okay, Saustache. You came in and did the exact same thing.
Well, no, he asked the man if his last name was Saustache.
Well, that was an advanced move.
That is offensive.
That was an advanced move and more embarrassing than what I did.
Like, did you think it out in your head?
Did
before
you
said it?
even
Well, I
know?
thought it was Italian.
Did you even know that?
I thought it was Saustache. I thought it was pronounced. Then I was like, well, don't say it like Saustache.
Well, on the line with us right now, live via Little Italy, New York, is Little Marky Saustache. It's Mark Saustache and
sorry,
Mark Saustache or Mark or Saustache. Thank you for being on the program. And would you maybe correct us a little bit in how we should properly refer to you?
Mark is fine. I mean, Saustache is what I go by online. My name is Mark Thompson. It's about as basic, as you
I
get.
like that. we
Saustache.
have Mark Thompson on the line. Yeah, it's not as much fun. We'll go with Saustache.
Saustache is great.
So, Mark, how did you get into, and I'll just say, like, the independent media world?
Yeah.
How'd you get into YouTube? Where did that start from?
Well, so, I mean, I've always tried, like, different things. I always wanted to create something. I feel like I'm a creative person. I wrote an app, a few years ago for, the iPhone. I've always just tried.
Was it called Wordabugs by chance?
It was a terrible app. It's not even out anymore. Nobody bought it. Nobody
Was
downloaded
it called Wordabugs by chance?
Was it
not
Saustache?
It wasn't Saustache, but so I was always into that kind of thing. And my fiance now, when we first started dating, she ran a yoga blog that honestly I was always like a little jealous of, because I loved the fact that we both worked for the same company. She quit her job. She went and did like her passion full time, ran the yoga blog. And we always, like, when we first started dating, we were talking about it quite a bit. And I was like, I really want to do like a blog or create something. I need to do something. And she said, why don't you just do a blog about all of your sauce recipes that you do when you cook us dinner? And I was like, okay, that's great. So one time she was out of town. She was at her parents' house. And I, took my cell phone camera and put it on like my kitchen cabinet and just filmed my hands making, like a basic, like, vegan mayo and chipotle sauce and like chipotle, mayo recipe. And that's where it kind of started. I threw that up on YouTube. It got a few views. And I did that for a while. And eventually I just switched to what I'm doing now, like being in front of the camera, trying to do like more like sciencey, fun, creative vegan recipes. And And just because I enjoy plant-based food, so it's like it was an easy transition.
I just learned last week what aquafaba is. Mm-hmm. And I'm fascinated and also repulsed by it, and I mean that with love. I don't mean to be a hater, but like I saw some friend of mine. I have a vegan lady who's been a friend of mine for many, many years who used that, and she whipped that chickpea water like it's no business, and whipped it right into a chocolate mousse. And I was like, this aquafaba can duplicate what egg whites do, and apparently it can.
It's insane. Well, the guy who created it, like I don't know all of the facts behind it, but the guy who created it, essentially he was looking for something that was kind of like viscous and gross as egg whites.
Right.
And he figured that if he can test something that was like that, he might get similar results. And that's when he was like, you know what, the stuff that you pour out of a can of chickpeas is kind of that same gross consistency.
Yeah.
So when he tried it, that's when he was able to whip it up, and it just turned into this, I mean, now it's massive. Like everybody in the vegan or plant-based community has used it at one point.
Yeah, like in a pinch, even if you're not vegan, if you were making like some banana bread and you needed, an egg white or something, you throw it in there and take a chance, man. You never know. It might not be that bad.
It's not bad.
So, Mark, I do want to talk to you about my wife's a vegetarian, her family's vegan, and so I'm familiar with a lot of vegan food and vegetarian food. Mm-hmm. But before we go into actually talking vegan, I want to ask you about like when you started your YouTube videos, were you looking for like views and to increase your view count, or did you start it and just like the aspect of producing
like
this
the
video,
presentation, the educational aspect?
And Mark, the reason why I ask you this is because we've talked to other YouTubers before, and now that do it professionally for a living and make really good money doing it. One of them is Matt Mormon, and when he started his YouTube videos originally, he started it as a therapy for himself, never even thinking that it was ever going to go anywhere.
It was a little more inward. It was selfish. Yeah, it was like for him.
Yeah, and so his videos were like, these are therapeutic for me, and then they got popular, and then he realized like, oh, okay, I'm gonna start doing this, and then now he does it for a living. So did you set out to gain popularity, gain views, and then obviously the more views, the more you could turn it into a business? Yeah,
I mean, honestly, like I really wanted to do this, like what I'm doing right now as a career. Like I mean, I love it. It's insanely stressful, and it's a ton of work. It's a lot more than I ever expected it would be, but it's what I wanted. So yeah, when I started, I mean, it is like, I love making videos. I mean, for me, it was really like being able to make videos about something that I enjoy and, have fun with it. But I really did want it to turn into a business. I really wanted it to turn into like my thing.
That's interesting.
How did what was that time, that point? It's almost like a singularity,
like a pivotal moment when you kind of knew.
Where you like did one go viral, and then from there you were able to pivot off of that one video and get more? Because with all the YouTubers that we talk to, it seems like they do it, they grind it for a long time, they slowly, gradually increase their views, and all of a sudden they get one lucky viral, right place, right time, it spread the internet the right way, and then from that one viral, they're able to ride that wave, and that was kind of their like one-hit wonder, I guess. Sure. And it just came by random, and there was no explanation for it. Did that kind of happen to you?
I mean, I kind of wish that was what it is, because I mean, I know so many people that's happened to, like where they just were doing it as like their hobby, and then all of a sudden, boom, it took off. But no, like honestly, like I worked as an IT manager for one of the local universities here for like 15 years. I got laid off while I was doing like 2 years into the YouTube thing. And I honestly, I made the decision to jump like way too early. Like, I mean, I wasn't making any money. It wasn't really successful yet, but I kind of knew that, I had some money, I had some savings, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to jump all in. I'm going to throw everything I got at it and just pray that I don't, throw away my entire life savings to do this. And luckily, I guess it just worked out. But no, it was like I went way too early. Like when I went full time, it wasn't really doing anything.
Like, and when you say it really wasn't doing anything, did you know the business enough as far as like YouTube business, if we just like categorize it as that, where you knew like I need X amount of hits or X amount of subscribers to get there?
So you had a relatively good understanding of the YouTube business?
Yeah, I felt confident about it. Like, I felt confident that, I knew how much time I had. Like, I had like a few months to a year. And I felt confident enough that if I just kept doing what I was doing and just kept, elevating like every video, making every video a little bit better and focusing on what, people wanted to watch, what was working, what wasn't working, and really just driving that down. And honestly, it was a really cool thing because, not to like jump off what you were saying, but it was neat to see that as I was kind of letting go of following patterns or trends and started kind of just getting more creative and doing more of what I liked, I started getting more views. So it was like, as I let go of the things that I thought I knew about YouTube, the more successful I got. So, I mean, I was very confident early on. When I went full time with it, I was very confident that I could do it. I think that is what really helped drive any sort of success that I have from it. But I had like a basic understanding of how YouTube worked.
Mark, how did you actually increase your view count? Because to me, it seems like, obviously in the beginning it was a lot easier because there was less YouTube channels and less content.
Oh, yeah.
And like now, if someone came to ask me like, hey, I want to become a professional YouTuber, how do I do it? I'm going to be like, man, I mean, first, your content's got to be the best possible content you could do. But then I wouldn't know how to not get lost in the sea of billions of videos.
Even we get lost,
So I'm sure there's a lot of other like vegan chefs and people like producing this style content. How do you market yourself? Do you just put it out there and hope that people find you, or do you like actually go out there and try to spread the word?
No, I mean, really, I'm not spreading a whole lot of word. Maybe I should be doing that a lot more than what I do. But like, it really is just trying to make the best thing that I can possibly make, and stand out enough from the crowd just in the content that I'm making, and hope that the algorithm, the YouTube, gods, play favor on me. And it is, there's like, they do give you a ton of data. Like YouTube tells you, like what your average watch time percentage is and like where the audience like stopped watching. And all of that stuff is really important to the algorithm. And I know friends that have, 2, 3, 4 million subscribers and they do really well. They do it for a living and they don't focus on the analytics and they just make good content. But for me, I focused and said, okay, it's like, well, my audience is dropping off at like the last 40 seconds of every video that I do. Like maybe if I, cut that shorter and see if like that will make my view percentages better. And so I started doing that and, just like little things.
I would go like, they're dropping the last 40 seconds. I got to pull my D out or something. I got to give them like 40 more seconds, got to do something. I get a top hat out. I'm pulling birds. I like, stay, don't leave me.
That's it. That's what you do.
And so, okay, to the laymen out there that don't know the YouTube game as much as
you speaking for yourself?
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't really know it, do we?
So, Mark, what is that number that is kind of in your industry? Like, I'm sure you talk to other YouTubers and you all have talked to, we're in the podcast realm, so we know a lot about the podcasting. But so what would you tell someone, like, what would be the number you have to hit so that you could start to even make a business out of it?
It's just so different. It's different for everybody. There's really like, I know and have seen small YouTubers that do really, and small YouTubers like, people in the 10,000 subscriber range that are getting, a few thousand views a video. Like you can make a business out of that. People are able to like sell things and sell classes or sell merchandise or whatever. So, I've seen people like go full time and do fairly well early, and there's certain like niches that like that their ad revenue is way more than others. So it's, if you're doing something that's like really controversial or you're doing something that might be a little bit more adult themed or something, you're probably not going to have like a whole lot of like ad dollars coming in. But if you're like really family friendly and you're appealing to adults and, you're appealing to like a strong like American audience, like you're probably going to make decent ad revenue. Like there's this whole thing in the YouTube industry about how like AdSense, you're not going to make any money off of like Google ads. And it's like, no, that's a complete lie. Because if you get a lot of views and you're like, good advertiser style content, you're going to make a good living.
Yeah. When I think family and when I think American heroes, I think you and I. And I feel like everything he was saying, I was just checking the boxes as it was coming out of his mouth.
Well, Mark, that's just because it changed. Something inherently changed in YouTube's way of business a while back, where at first it was just about clicks and views, and then trying to get that number. But that caused a bunch of garbage.
Yeah, they had to change.
And then people would just put like compilation videos with a bikini pic as the thumbnail that is the click on, and then just get like 1 million views and then start making money off it.
It was artificial.
But it was all garbage. So then you're saying if you actually have really quality content and an engaging personality, that is way more valuable than any like actual clicks.
By far. I mean, because it's better for like multitude of reasons. Just being able to work with businesses and I would say most of my revenue comes from brand deals, like brand revenue. And, so it's like working with brands, like it's a lot easier when you have like higher quality, like good engaging content. But then like the number one reason for all of that is just, your audience engagement. Like for me, it's like, I love the fact I know when I first switched over to making like plant-based food, I was getting like a lot of hate. I was getting like a lot of people were like, "Oh, you're making a bean burger. That's dumb. That's not meat."
I was one of those guys.
Probably. I mean, there's like it was wild.
Why do people hate plants so much?
No, but I remember when you made the bean burger, and I was incensed. I mean, I was mad.
Well,
people do. They get really mad over it.
Yeah. Well,
weird.
We could talk about that. I mean,
animals are here to kill, and if you're not with me, you're against me.
It's a weird.
That's what I'm saying. People feel that way.
Well,
I don't feel that way.
It's a weird American cultural thing that we're. I feel like we're.
America, I mean.
Man, I don't know what I do. I gotta tell you, I don't know what I do with beans. That's like my favorite thing in the world.
Mark, I tell the story all the time. We did a chili cook-off one time. My wife cooked vegetarian chili, and people were literally going in the line, like everybody had all their chilies, and people were like, "Oh, what's in this chili?" And my wife's like, "It's just vegetarian." People were like, "Ew!" Ew! You were just eating rattlesnake chili. It's the same ingredients.
It's just minus something. It's not even like they added it.
It tastes exactly the same. It's just like meat
Normally,
protein.
when you take something out, it makes it better because you're being picky, right? Last night I made hamburger helper. I took the onions out. My daughter did a cartwheel.
Yeah. So Mark, is it okay? Is it a faux pas to ask you how many subscribers you have? Because I don't know.
That's like
you can go to his channel and see.
No, I know, but
I want to hear you say it.
Yeah. I think I have. I think it's like 270 something thousand.
You're up to 282,000.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Was there, Mark Cuban tells a story about sitting in his underwear in the middle of the night watching himself become a billionaire, through stocks. Like he literally watched the stock portfolio tick up to past $1 billion.
You don't want to know what I watch when I'm sitting alone in the middle of the night in my underwear.
So were you able to see it like break 100,000? What was your milestone where you're like, yes, I achieved what I thought I could?
Really, I remember I was at Florida BlogCon and I broke 1,500 subscribers, and this was just 2 years ago, I think, or maybe 3 years ago now. And I remember that feeling going, just 1,500 people subscribed to me,
That's exciting.
And I had the same feeling when I hit 10,000 subscribers, and then I had, it was the same feeling when I hit 100. It is really wild because it's when you hit the milestones that you want to hit, it's like, that's awesome. It's this big celebration. And then almost immediately it's done because it's okay. Well, now I have to hit the next one.
Yeah. We know about that.
Yep.
So
we don't know about that. We've never hit. I know you said that, and I was trying to play along. He's like, "Yeah, we know all about that." I'm like, "Yes,
we barely anybody listens to us, Mark.
In fact,
this is probably a waste of your time.
I didn't want to say this, but I don't know what the word milestone means. Sorry,
Mark. We have what we call BDMs, and there are our super engaged audience that support us the most,
super fans.
In the radio, we both had our career start in terrestrial radio, and back then they used to call it P1s. They're like your P1 audience; those are your most engaged, most
listen every day, never turn it off.
Yeah. So, do you have that, and do you have a relationship with your super viewers or your most engaged audience where they contact you all the time, and is that is that a group that
he calls them his flying saucers?
Yeah. Do you have a name for them, or
I like that. I mean, I used to call them like the sauce makers, but like that kind of it always felt like forced, and it just didn't like stick. And but I do have that group. I have I have the people that I see all the time in the comments, and I'm always trying to race in to find their comments when a new video comes out, because I love seeing that. I think it's the coolest thing. I have people that followed from very early on that are now friends on my Facebook page. It's kind of neat the way that happens, and the community that develops around it. But yeah, I have that group. There's a Facebook page of my whole Patreon audience, people that follow me on Patreon that now belong to the Facebook page where they can ask a bunch of questions and stuff, but they just kind of all interact together, which is really cool. Now it's just my gang, it's just the Sauce Gang or the Sauce Squad.
I like that. What's the hardest part? The management and the organization of everything?
No, honestly, the hardest part is the content. I make 2 videos a week, and it's trying to always top the week before, always trying to come up, and because it's sometimes a lot of these recipes take a bunch of time. There's a lot of recipes that take 3 days just to finish. And it's you get through 3 days of testing, and then all of a sudden it's it failed, and you're testing 9 different versions and none of them work. And it's well, I need a video for tomorrow. It's what? So it's the always
go
having
get the top
that
hat.
List
you're
of
pulling
content.
the birds out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark, with your content, do you have to? Okay, because I've seen where, and you'll probably understand where social media influencers, where especially some of the I guess the carnival, we call them oddities. There's a lot of oddities on Instagram, and I've seen some of them, and they start doing content, and they realize that people like to see me get kicked in the groin. So then, because that got the most likes, so then what they'll do is then they'll just go hard with that, because whatever got the most likes, they'll just give them double down on that. But that's a dangerous road and slippery slope, because then
that's the Steve-O.
Yeah, but then
or the Sugar Ray. It's your audience are giving them what they want.
Yeah, but then
it gets disastrous.
Yeah, but how long can you get kicked in the groin? You're kicked 100 times in the groin.
Becomes a health concern.
So have you ever maybe started to fall in the trap, or everybody liked when I did this, and then you're I'm doing too much of this, but people seem to like it. Do you have to be cognizant of that?
Yeah, that's a constant cycle. Honestly, I've made vegan bacon probably 17 or 18 times now.
Okay, yeah.
I've turned everything that I feel I can possibly turn into bacon. I don't think there's anything else that I can possibly make.
Is that the carrot bacon?
What's that?
Is that the carrot bacon?
I've done carrot bacon.
Mushroom
I've done
bacon.
daikon radish bacon, tofu bacon, wheat gluten bacon.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Which is the best fake bacon?
The wheat gluten bacon, the seitan bacon, it's wildly good. But honestly, there's a new company that just came out that's making a rice flour bacon, and when you cook it up, it smells and looks, and honestly, it sizzles on its own, which is really wild. Those guys are coming out in a month or 2, and that's gonna change the plant-based bacon game.
I feel like it's those cigarettes that have the powder in them, so they look like you're smoking. It's let's add in some Pop Rocks to give it real sizzle action.
Well, Mark, you're a pro, and I've been curious about this. As obviously plant-based diets get more and more popular, and vegan gets more and more popular, and people get more educated about it. It seems like the products are getting better and better. And we've seen with Impossible stuff and
oh man, they just added a whole bunch more at our grocery store over here. I went down the aisle and there's tons more Impossible.
Tons of it.
It would seem to me that as technology gets better and flavors get more fine tuned, and people figure out what protein emulates the fat in our animal fat, and that's kind of what Impossible did. Could we get to a place in the near future where they'll make, let's say, a burger that is impossible to tell whether it is.
Wait a minute, and then they call it, and then they're going to call it Impossible Burger. Hold on.
Well, I mean,
okay, hold on.
Where you can't differentiate the that it's the plant-based.
For a split
nobody
second,
could.
I thought you'd gone crazy.
I was like, oh, it's the old Sostache.
Because
again.
even with the Impossible Burger, if if someone ate it,
if you really analyze it.
Yeah, like it's just, they'd be like, oh, this is not it.
If you eat an Impossible Burger and you didn't know it was an Impossible Burger and you just kind of like gone through it, you probably might not tell. I mean, unless you're like this like really like distinguished burger lover, but I mean, most Impossibles are pretty dang close.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're really close. There's a lot of things like solid meats, like steaks and pork chops and things like that.
That's hard, yeah.
We're kind of, yeah, it's really hard, but like there's a lot of meats that are very easily replicatable, and I think we're incredibly close to getting to, a point to where it's identical. There's and a lot of this stuff's actually been made for years. There's these really cool. I did a video on it about like a vegan fish made from like a seaweed protein, and it like gels up and looks and tastes, and I mean it's wild how incredibly close it is to raw like sashimi grade fish, and it's like if you chop that up and threw that in a poke bowl, you wouldn't know that you weren't eating fish. So I think we're getting really close to that point.
I got another question for you because my wife gets asked this all the time because people try to.
How do you deal with him?
Well, people try to stump her with this, and and I do it too. Where obviously now
he's the 17th president.
They're actually making lab meat or lab protein that is not from an animal, but it is an animal protein. And people are like, "Well, you eat that?" And then my wife's like, "No, because I've been a vegetarian for so long that disgusts me. I don't even like." Yeah. But technically, it's not. Doesn't harm animals.
Right.
So if you were a vegan because of the animal purposes, then why wouldn't you eat this lab-made meat? Have you talked about that on the show, and have you tried it?
I've never talked about it. I would love to try it. Like, I'll be the first in line to try that out. I think it's really cool. I think the biggest thing is, and really for me, it's just to introduce something new for people to try and have just explore like a different protein other than just like something hacked from the back of a cow. Like, just it's not about like I don't ever talk about veganism on my channel. I don't talk about I'm not a vegan. I'm not vegan. I'm like a flexo-pescatarian. Like I eat fish and I mostly try to eat plant-based. I just think it would be cool if people ate less animals. So
yeah.
If they grow meat and it's the same thing, eat the heck out of it.
Yeah, of course, and we've always said for fast food and all for huge processed stuff.
But I want them to grow it in a cow form, so I still get the enjoyment of pure murder. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, why would that be allowed? If you grow me a cow, just leave its brain out so it doesn't know I'm killing it.
Mark, can you give us a little behind the scenes on what you're planning for your next video?
So, I'm going to be doing, coming up, I got just a quick vegan breakfast. It's going to be just, nothing like really crazy. But this whole month, I'm going to be exploring different plant-based cheeses. I just released a video yesterday that took like a fermented, really like funky tofu, which, if you try it, it's funky. It tastes like a really like aged cheese. And I mixed that with some like a chickpea tofu, like a Burmese tofu, and it comes out like sliceable cheese. So that's what I'm going to be, what I'm really working on. And I'm also I'm working on this month. I'm just dedicating every extra minute I have to it. I'm writing a cookbook. So I'm going to be releasing a plant-based meat cookbook that's just dedicated to making fake meat. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Awesome.
That's awesome, man.
Well, Mark, plug your YouTube channel real quick just so people can know where to find you.
Yeah, come over and find me at Saustache, at youtube.com/Saustache. I'm pretty much Saustache everywhere except on Instagram. I'm the Saustache guy.
Did someone take Saustache on Insta?
No, it's a crazy. When I first started, my fiance ran the Instagram page, and she ended up accidentally inviting her 5,000 yogi friends. So it ended up being me following all of these yogi people, which I absolutely love. But I just figured it'd be easier to start from scratch as the Saustache guy.
I got you.
Well, Mark, it was great talking to you, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for the time, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This was awesome. I love you guys.
All right, man. We love you too. See, Tom, people do say it.
Yeah.
Tom always yells at me when I tell people I love them at the end, but we need more love now than ever. And this guy's a horrible human being.
You forced him into awkwardly saying it.
He said it
first.
Oh, okay.
I said it.
I'm
He's
sorry.
not
Mark.
listening.
Yeah, he didn't.
When I hear
He
love,
doesn't
I
even know
tune
what your
out.
name is. Saustache.
When I hear the word
Mark's-
love, I'm
Yeah.
like,
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
see ya.
That was an awkward thank you at the end.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I wonder how much money.
I knew
I
it.
knew it.
I couldn't. I felt too awkward asking him, but I was trying to do the math on the,
Just
how many
ask him.
subscribers
Why is it
and
awkward?
with,
It's only awkward if, see, now it's awkward.
Well, it'd be awkward if someone asked us in an interview that, even though I want them to every
No,
time.
all you have to do is say, I am not going to tell you. Right?
Yeah.
Well,
You
that's
don't have to
awkward if I
disclose
say.
anything.
Why is it awkward?
If I say that, it's like asking someone how much money they make in real life.
Sam, you can ask me any
It's a
question
faux
you
pas.
want. Ask me anything. Go ahead.
What do you watch when you sit in your living room in your underwear?
I am not going to tell you.
Oh.
He would tell you that. That's a lie. Like,
No,
I
I'm
don't know
actually
what.
not going to
I
tell
can't
him.
even imagine a question Daniel wouldn't tell us
Right.
for real. There'd be nothing. Everything is on the table. Anyway.
Not everything. There is one. There's one thing.
I don't even want to know that.
No, you don't know.
Bye-bye.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
Samantha and Butler are here. Where are your glasses, Grandma?
I didn't bring them because I'm going to lose them here, and I'll forget to bring them home.
Well, if you only leave them in here, you're not going to lose them. We'll find them in here.
You literally need them
Yeah.
here.
You
Got
can't see.
my old
The ones
You
you're not
sent-
supposed to wear.
Amazon, yeah.
You sent me some merch proofs this morning, and then you told me, and I'll quote, about my computer screen to zoom in. That's not how it works.
Yeah. It's fine. I'll bring them in so you can see them. They're stupid. It's
Do they have granny chains?
No, there's regular glasses.
So you spend hundreds of dollars on glasses you're not
Are they
gonna wear.
Buddy Hollies? Are they like Rivers Cuomo's?
I don't
Like-
know
Oh,
what
I
style.
hope
I don't
so.
know.
Or Como, whatever his name is.
I just said, give me the standard, the whatever the standard to this day and age is. That's all, and he gave it to me, and I was like, I don't know. This could be, he could be clowning me. I don't know if
Are
this
there
is-
lenses in them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are they metal frame?
I don't know. It seemed plastic to me.
Black? No, you said they're clear.
They're gray
Gray
clear.
clear,
Oh,
which I don't know what that means.
Well, it means like they're gray and then they fade to clear.
Nice.
Like that fat guy from MasterChef. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't watch
Look
that.
up, type in
Fat
fat
guy
guy
from
MasterChef and look at that guy's glasses. Fat people, when they get glasses, they go zany.
I wanted to talk
I'm here to reverse that.
Mark.
Jockey Petrie? Is that his name?
No, Jockey
No.
Petrie, never say that name. I told you to never say Jockey's name on this show. I'll never forgive Jockey Petrie for what he did to this show. I don't even know who that is.
I want
Graham Elliott?
Graham Elliott, that's who it is.
I
Big
wanted
white
to-
glasses.
Have you guys
Yeah,
had
hipster dad, big white glasses.
how much vegan cheese have you guys
That's a
consumed?
personal question, sir. I have never had vegan cheese, and wait, no, maybe once or twice, and I think it gives me the
Yeah.
super farts.
Yeah.
I had it for the first time last week, and
It's oil.
it doesn't have any taste.
It's just
Yeah,
oil.
But I might
It's-
have got a bad cheese.
I
I was asking in the chat for recommendations. I need non-dairy cheese.
yeah, my
Just stop eating cheese because I don't think it's gonna work.
I
It's
bet
just
you
oil.
Stop.
It's just oil.
Well-
it's yuck.
I think you have to
Delicious
get
oil.
a chef or someone that knows what they're doing to make something because I
Like this guy, or like the guy
Yeah,
we just
Mark,
interviewed,
yeah.
like Saustache.
because my mother-in-law brought by like vegan cheese one time and it was in like she brought it for something
Is
and
it like a spread or is
it's
it
like no like actual
Slices?
of vegan cheese they sell
Uh-huh.
and I was like, well, I mean they do a really good with everything else vegan, I've eaten vegan before and I think we're out of cheese and I use it not it's difficult it seems to replicate
Yeah.
the taste of cheese as far as like when you buy it in a package. I bet this
Strange question.
Vegan restaurants, they probably do a better job.
Strange question. We all know that almond milk is really just almond squeezins.
Yeah.
Can they take the pulp that's left over from the almond squeezins and convert that into some sort of almond cheese out of the byproduct, the mush? Because almond milk, I'm down with. I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We are an almond milk family. No big deal. I can drink it. I can put it on my cereal.
Yeah, we
I
are
can even
too.
put it in my coffee. It's not good.
Yeah, we've always bought almond milk.
Yeah, it's fine though. You know, it's just fine.
It was not as good as the big jug of red
fat milk. Oh, so good.
Full D.
Yeah.
Eat
a sleeve of Oreos with a gallon of that.
Yeah. Thick.
Delicious.
It goes bad if you sit on the counter for
2 minutes.
so
fat.
Pour it quick.
Like, what happened?
Yeah.
It's already curdled.
I feel like a baby cow. It's just, it's fattening me up good.
From the Twitch chat room, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live. Somebody says Cabot cheese is lactose free. Not all Cabot cheese.
Right.
Tree nut French cheese is good.
Is that what they're saying?
Tree nut French?
Okay.
Where do I get that?
I mean,
I think it would be easier. I'll just speak for me.
Yeah.
If I were in your shoes and needed non-dairy cheese, I probably would just shake hands with myself and agree to eliminate cheese. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be so disappointing.
Cheese flavor is like, it's the actual thick. It's kind of like what he was talking about. Like, it's going to be really hard to replicate a steak or a pork chop or a piece of meat. There's some
whole meat.
Yeah. But so cheesy flavored things they can get away with but it's just the slice
with cheese.
Or Or
we can do the flavor. We can't do the item.
Yeah. I bet you though, the more expensive you get, the closer they get. But just like everything else. But man, that I was like, ooh, not the cheese that I want.
But a lot of the other stuff I've had that's either, most of it's like vegan stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like I've had vegan sausage that was really good.
Oh yeah.
I've had vegan. I've had the fake bacon that your wife has given me before on a camping trip. Not bad.
Every vegan restaurant I've ever gone to,
It's
I had a delicious meal that I was like, this is delicious, satisfying, loved every minute. There's nothing I wouldn't. It's a weird cultural thing that you get mad at it. Though.
Well, what I do now because
Why
we have
are you mad?
Well, we have so many like different vegan restaurants around here that actually serve good cuisine. That I prefer help!
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producer here. Hey, Sam.
Hi.
Butler in the other room, and we're holding it down for a big Friday.
Yeah, we got a ton of merch on tomanddan.com. Just go to the merch section, get our app.
Yep.
It's free. Just search Tom and Dan.
Indeed. We're live on Twitch right now, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live. And for all replays, search, like, subscribe, hit that alert button. YouTube, Tom and Dan Live.
So we have our buddy in the line. I actually have a sports weather question for him.
Oh, here we go.
This
isn't Waltney. We're not talking about baseball.
No, I know.
Let's give him a little music and properly bring him in.
Mike is with us from Mike's weather page, spaghettymodels.com. If you want
spaghetti.
You want live updates from a professional about any weather topic, Mike will tell you about it on Mike's weather page. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, guys. Not professional. I'm a weather wannabe amateur media. I got to clarify that.
Well, at this
everybody
point,
knows.
He didn't go to school for it, but he knows what he's talking about.
Everybody knows that amateur's better. I like a good gonzo amateur weather guy.
Because I'm kind of throwing the word professional here because I consider you a professional when it comes to weather as much as I do anybody on the local news.
But that might make Mike uncomfortable considering. But maybe we don't say it, but we know. How about that?
I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
So I will tell you, our segment today brought to you by ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. Just if you go to ABC, use hashtag TDABC.
Indeed.
When you buy anything, and we're going to send you a prize once a month. But thank you to ABC. So, Mike, we were talking a little bit on the break. I can't believe there's another hurricane out there. And I'm already thinking about Thanksgiving, and I'm out of hurricane mode. And
like I'm ready for Christmas, man.
And the election happened, and all these things that should be hurricane season behind us, and all of a sudden I start hearing rumblings of like, hey, we could see, a hurricane hit Florida or come close, or I mean, there's a lot of unknowns, and then I'm like, what? And so tell us about this hurricane, and it's just been sitting in one spot for a while, right?
Yeah, it was a monster of a storm. It went into Nicaragua and Honduras in Central America. I think the official winds it was borderline Category 5. Man. Okay, major. It was the strongest storm of the season. And like you just said, it was November, right? I mean, water is supposed to be cold, so we're looking at the strongest hurricane of the season just landed in Central America. Now it's curving back around, and it's going to bring something to Florida. The big question mark is what? But there's going to be a lot of people caught off guard, and it's going to affect both sides of the state. It's going to be like a subtropical style storm in the beginning. So the East Coast is going to get a lot of wind and a lot of rain later in the weekend, early part of the week. Then it's going to do this. I keep talking about a zigzag. It's going to go northeast, northwest, northeast. There's some models showing it actually intensify in the Gulf and could be an early, midweek hurricane coming back at Florida.
Oh my God!
What now? So now, first, what is this hurricane's name? I don't even know.
Well, it's ETA. I guess I screw it up like I do every other name. The pronunciation's Ada. I think that's correct, but it's ETA. Mm-hmm. So the joke is, what's the ETA on ETA?
Oh, I like that. God, we're in Hurricane ETA already. We went through the entire alphabet.
This 2020, throw it in the trash.
Yeah, it's a strange time.
Yeah, so how long and how much devastation has this hurricane done so far in Central America? Because it had kind of
just been parked,
stalled there. Kind of like what's the one last year?
Dorian.
Yeah. It stalled, and then it's just been there as a super strong hurricane sitting on top of these people, right?
Yeah, it's very mountainous region. A lot of flash flooding reports coming in. 30 inches plus, rain. So yeah, it's been very devastating for those folks. That's what they get out of these. They had a huge wind effect, obviously, on the coast, and then this thing slowed to a crawl and curved with a lot of rain, and it's finally making its way out back into the Western Caribbean, and it's going to be, it's going to catch a lot of people off guard, like you said, because who the heck's talking about the hurricanes in November? But historically speaking, we do get systems that surprise people in later October, November. It's not that uncommon. I think just after the year we've had, people are just hurricane hangover. They're done.
Right.
Yeah, well, with everything.
Yeah,
I mean, I think.
Well, Mike, is it harder to predict where this storm is going to go? And follow me with this question, because we have less record or less things to go on because it's a rare thing for a hurricane to be this late in the season. So it's like the hurricanes that we're used to seeing, they come off the coast of Africa. They're traveling west. We're like used to seeing that hurricane pattern. And then there's some hurricanes that, created in the Gulf, and we see that. But that's, we're seeing that in September, October. And then,
right.
So November, because of cold fronts and the weather's changing, does this make it harder to predict where it's going to go?
Yeah, well, the initial thought was this was going to cross through Central America and go to the Pacific. And one of my live shows, I was looking at history, and very few did that. So I went off on a limb early on and said, I don't think this thing's going to cross over. And that's because, like you mentioned, the cold fronts they come down. We've already had our first cold fronts here in Florida, so we're going to get cold fronts, and they pick up any disturbances and pull it north, and that's exactly what's happening. The big kink in all this is we've had a high pressure system over Florida a lot this year. That's why all these storms seem like they're heading up to the upper Gulf, Louisiana. And lo and behold, we're going to have another high pressure system built in. And it's going to make our storm do a zigzag. It's going to go northeast, northwest, and then we have a front coming down midweek next week that's going to pick it up and bring it back out. So we're seeing an S. I showed a picture like the curvy road ahead on the mountain roads. That's kind of the arrow that this is taking. And it's making everybody just completely nuts. All the weather guys are just like, they don't know what to say because we got the whole state of Florida is in play on this one. And it's, luckily, intensity is so hard to predict. We're seeing a few models show some strengthening towards a possible hurricane. And so far this year, most forecasts have been way underdone. And we saw that when I was driving up to chase Zeta, and it was last second strengthening into the 960 millibar range. So this one's got that sneaky little potential, that it could sneak up, be a hurricane, which the Panhandle doesn't need anymore. West Coast is the only spot in the whole country that has had no watches or warnings. The most amazing graphic I've seen from the tip of Texas to the tip of Maine, we've had watches and warnings of, except for Big Bend down to West Coast Florida, and this could be this could be the ending of a crazy season.
So, Mike, this is okay. I'm gonna ask you a gambling question real quick.
Oh, here it is. Yeah. Well, I knew you were looking at that.
So
he's become the radio loudmouth guy.
You
realize that everything's about gambling now?
What's his name? Craig Carton.
Are you a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan?
Back in the day, man, I had a Bucko Bruce bike. I bled orange.
All right. Well, Tampa plays Saints Sunday night, and
that'd be a good game.
Now, are we going to see bad weather for this game? Because right now, the mainstream meteorologists can't really call it because they don't. They're like, we don't know because like you said, it's going it's going crazy.
It's going to crazy.
And then you start looking up like the regular digital weather on like any of these big weather sites, and it's like they predict 50% chance of rain. Like nothing. Because I would like to bet the under if we're going to have bad weather in this game, and they're just going to have to hand the ball off because the over's high in Drew Brees, Tom Brady. So if I know there's going to be bad weather, I'm going to hammer the under with my full max. Can you give me any insight on the weather Sunday night in Tampa?
I think it's just going to miss it if I had to make a call. I think the rough stuff will be getting here more Monday, so you might be all right.
Okay.
I would, if I had to put the money on the line, I would say it's slowing down just enough that now South Florida is a different story. They're going to get hammered with. I mean, we're talking foot of rain, maybe Miami area, but we're on that fine line where I-4 South looks like. We're going to be later in the weekend or first part of the week. So I would say it's okay.
You can check that out on Mike's new website, shouldbettymodels.com.
Well, that's interesting information, Mike, because the rest of the world is going to see this hurricane and then think like I am. I'll go bad weather, bet the under. They're going to bet it down, and then I'm going to hammer the over because Mike told me weather's fine.
And you're rich.
And Tom Brady and Drew Brees are going to slang it all night long, and I'm going to be rich. All right. That's okay, good. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, there you go. And I'll split it with you. Now, listen, now if it's raining and my phone doesn't, nobody's going to be answering the phone, so I'm not going to be around.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
Help, Mike.
Where my kids are like, Daddy, I can't go to college.
I can't tell you every time this season I'll say a bunch of stuff at night, wake up in the morning, everything changes, and I'm like, crap. I got to go online and admit failure, or you were wrong. But I love it because everybody's wrong, especially in the weather business. So
of course.
I don't have to worry about it.
That's interesting, Mike. Do people call you out all the time?
Yeah.
Like if you do get something wrong, because I feel like your hardcore followers understand that weather is super unpredictable. It's like gambling.
Yeah, it's
strange. You're betting on percentages, and there's it's very hard
Stuff
to call.
happens,
Yeah.
Very few. I love it. I have a couple guys that I actually know. I don't know how. I got so many followers now. I got these couple that I know that are gonna, put this, put that knife in me a little bit. But it's fun. I admit, I got a few that say I hype and I play it up. I'm like, yeah, I love the hype. I love my clicks. So it's cool. And I go over so many scenarios. I think I talk in circles sometimes. So I'm always right because I give every prediction. It might rain, it might not.
I know the circle.
Never be wrong. Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, you keep talking in circles. People are like, I'm tired of listening.
Sometimes you're
whatever.
Sometimes you're like, you said that. You said that. You said that. Still saying it. There it is.
I'll fast forward. I go to a show like 38 minutes in. See, I did say it. right there. I said there is a chance it might be faster than the storm, but I feel pretty good. I wouldn't have drove all the way to Mississippi. There was people saying that Zeta was going to be nothing, and I'm like, I don't know. I had a hunch, and the models don't lie, and I live and die by the models. And I have a little problem with the NHC. Not a problem with the NHC, but there's a lot more models showing this thing going farther east than they're showing, and I'm kind of in this. I always get in like this battle, like, okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say what I think, and then I kind of sweat bullets, like, okay, who's going to be right, who's going to be wrong, and I'm kind of doing that with this system. I think it's going to bring more action to Florida than people realize as far as rains and winds.
So, speaking of the models, Mike, are there any models that you think are operating on maybe a old way of doing it? And follow me with this, as far as like
I mean, I'd say most. I mean, Cindy Crawford,
Yeah.
Elle McPherson,
and what I mean by that is like
Christy Turlington.
sometimes when you're modeling something, you're not using the right analytics, or you're using a certain set of analytics that the model's working off of that's probably wrong to this current day condition. And so obviously where like temperatures are heating up or whatever, do you think some of the models are still accounting for past statistics that are now
Maybe we've blown past that?
Yeah, that are irrelevant nowadays.
Yeah, because we'll never be going back there.
Yeah. Do you think there's anybody that's stuck in the past that you're like, this model is definitely getting it wrong more than getting it right?
Oh, yeah. The models through the season will build like a Western bias, like the European this season. Other models, and the forecasters will start talking about that. They're like, well, this season, this model's trended this way. So, yeah, you get this gut feeling how models are performing through the year, and you start to develop these models do better initially. Like there's a German model called the Icon that I like. It seems to sniff out low pressure before the Euro even does. Well, then the Euro, once it picks up, you know the Euro is going to be good because it actually starts to see the upper air pattern. So, and then lastly, like the H-Wharf's an amazing model for intensity, but it doesn't seem to do very good on track. So I start to blend them all together. I know, okay, the Euro's good on upper level winds. The Euro might show squat on a system like it did with Zeta a couple times, but I was using the other models to say, okay, the other models we have showing high probability of a low pressure. We're going to use the Euro upper level winds maps because it knows upper level winds. So you combine them, and you're like, okay, the H-Wharf intensity. The H-Wharf's been way above everybody else's this year as far as intensity, and it's been right like 99% of the time. When the GFS is saying a weak tropical storm, the H-Wharf is showing a Cat 2 hurricane, and that's happened 3 or 4 times this season. So you do get to know which ones are performing better in different areas, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
No. And Mike, we've seen the trend this season in a lot of storms hitting the Gulf Coast and like progressing in the Gulf of Mexico and obviously the Louisiana, New Orleans area.
So
like
tragic.
I mean, I don't know how many like bad storms have gone through that area and this season.
I've lost count.
And Texas, is this a trend that we're going to see more of moving forward because of the Gulf of Mexico being hotter than it normally is, and just the weather patterns of the globe, or could this just be an anomaly, and then next season we see something totally different?
Yeah, it's 100% an anomaly, I think, because the high pressure has been locked in over Florida, and I can tell you, you ever remember these days you wake up and it's hot out, and this is just last week when Zeta was going through the Gulf. We have a lot of days that it is just intensely hot in Florida, and that's the high pressure that gets locked over top of us, and you could feel it. It's like, even my daughter is like, why is it so hot out? Well, we've had that high pressure system locked in over Florida a lot this season, and that's why it's kind of drove the storms more to the west, and there's been years like 2004 that we've had the same amount of storms. That high pressure was just a little bit weaker, and it turned them up into the Florida peninsula. So you get in the early in the season, I heard people talking about the strong Bermuda high. Well, it is indeed played out, and it's playing out on this system too. So I think the weather patterns slowly shift. A lot of it has to do with El Nino and La Nina, which is controlled by the Pacific. The water temperatures in the Pacific control the weather for the Atlantic, because of the jet stream patterns, and jet streams are influenced by water temperatures and uprising of currents, and so it's a slow shift, I think, of weather patterns that we see. So this pattern could be locked in for next season. As far as frequent storms and this pattern. But yeah, we just this season, for some whatever reason, Florida's had a high pressure over it. I don't think there's nobody really knows why.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Well, Mike, one last question. If I was going to bet you, or you were going to win $100,
Jesus.
If the bet was, will there be another hurricane, at least like Category 1, that hits somewhere in the United States after this particular
After
storm.
ETA?
Yeah, ETA. Would you say yes or no if you could win $100?
Yes.
All right.
Just because the water down there is still hot.
Yeah.
And we've had December storms, so
it takes a long time to cool, right?
Yeah, and the weather pattern just shows it. But they wouldn't be much past that. I mean, and there's no signs of it. I just don't think the season's going to end like this. I don't. So we'll see. It's crazy. I'm ready to talk about cold fronts and fire pits and beer.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Especially after we had our first cold front, and then now we're looking at a hurricane again.
I want to have my first cold Mike's beer. That's
Right?
what I got to find that beer.
I'll hook you up. You see what shirt I'm wearing?
Hey, thanks for doing that, man. I got to get some of your beer though, so I can rep right back at you.
Yeah.
I'll have some shipped to you guys. It's been the hottest thing on the planet. They can't keep it in stock. It was a cool thing, man. But I'll make sure y'all get some.
That's really good to hear, man.
Let's talk about your beer real quick. If people want to get it at ABC.
Yep.
I got a can right here. Hoping you guys mentioned it. Hurricane Hunter.
Yep.
Cool story on this though is my fans named our dog. In fact, he's sleeping on me right now because he's.
I heard it. I thought I heard it. Okay, Mike. Full transparency. One of the reasons why I was so quiet during this interview, you probably noticed it, Tom. I'm going to tell you where my anxiety was going. I heard these little hems and haws and wheezes and little zips and zazzles.
And I heard a snore.
Yeah, and I heard little things, and I being a crazy about the studio, I was like, I wired this thing incorrectly. I've got some interference from wires.
You got the old snoring dog.
Yeah, I've got the old snoring dog inside the new computer. So I thought, oh, what a little baby, little sweet.
But
baby.
you literally had a snoring dog in the computer.
Oh, he's so sweet.
But yeah, no, it's been an exciting project with Big Storm Brewery, and it's at ABC. The guys at ABC are promoting the heck out of it. And we're going to make it a series beer. So it'll be like every 3 months, there'll be a new design, new can, new flavor.
Sweet.
The fans love it. And next season, once everybody's ready for the season, we'll have a official start, new beer for the season of 2021.
I love
awesome.
it. That's awesome, man.
Well, Mike, it was great. It was great talking to you. Yeah, no, 100%.
We are very, very, very lucky to get to chat with you, especially around these times, and especially when it comes to weather and hurricanes. And we really appreciate you giving us a buzz and being on the show.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And I know this will air a little bit after, but this storm is tricky. This the 5-day NHC cone doesn't tell the story that this could actually come back. So we could be looking at a later in the week's system next week. So, I always like to put it out there so people are ahead of the game. So you can all sound smart and say, hey, we might have a little something coming midweek next week.
Yeah.
Gotcha. No.
I heard it on the Tom and Dan show.
There you go. We appreciate it. Well, hey, take care of yourself, man, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, you guys, see you. Bye-bye.
All right, man.
See you, Mike.
Take care.
Again, it's Mike from Mike's Weather Page. Just follow him on Facebook. That's the easiest way. He does.
I love that guy.
He does daily Facebook Lives. He tell you all about it.
I'm so glad that was a puppy. I was getting.
Bye-bye. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
We got Canadian Josh on the line.
You want to do it? Let's do it now. Let's get into it fast. Because I have a feeling, sorry, I'm burping up peanut butter pretzels. I have a feeling he's going to want to say some things.
Oh, Canada, home of George St. Pierre. Tom's Pop called it Gay Mexico.
How you doing, Josh?
Good day, from the Great White North. What's going on, guys?
Wow,
Good
you
day,
look awesome. I love your glasses, man.
Tom, I did these. What do you think of the glasses, buddy?
Oh, come on, Josh.
He hates fun. You're making him mad. He was having a serious discussion earlier with his social media manager. He's mad.
Yeah.
He's about to chop your glasses off, Ricky Gervais.
I don't think I've ever seen you, Josh.
He's been in studio with us.
That's right.
Oh my God, you were so disrespectful.
Tom came around the corner, and I'm trying to explain something to him, and the more I explain, the more I can see the anger in his eyes. He just wanted to chop my head off.
Tom,
and then he looks up at the screen.
You literally handed me this
Yeah.
shirt in person.
He talked to your children.
And then he goes, "It's Ricky Gervais," and I'm like, "It's not." It's
I remember now. You and your sons, and they were mad that
There it is.
They were mad that you drug them to some nerdy podcast. Yeah. They want to go to Disney World, and they pretend they were nice.
They were,
because they're Canadian. But if they were my sons, they'd one squirt in the corner. They're mad. Trashy.
All right. I guess before we get started, I'll do the plug. The Canadian Josh segment is brought to you by jcvoiceover.com. JC Voiceover, definitely not as good as Dan Stone, but not bad. Special rates for Tom and Dan and Semantics listeners, jcvoiceover.com. And we're going to drink to that with a Labatt Blue.
Labatt Blue. I do like a good Labatt Blue, man. That is out of all the... Now, why is that one of my favorite? Out of all the Canadian beers that I've had, I do enjoy a nice Labatt Blue ice cold.
I don't know if I've had one.
It's good.
Labatt Blue would be very similar to a Budweiser white label if I had to compare it to something.
It's just easy.
It's just standard Canadian.
Standard lager. Standard Canadian lager.
So, Josh, what do we got today?
Well, we got lots of stuff going on. Not as much as you guys have going on, and that's what I was talking to Sam about beforehand, is your election. Gambling on your election is big right now in Canada. As a gambling man, do you bet on the U.S. election, Tom?
I asked him that, and he told me he stayed away from it.
I was just yelling at this morning. I wish I would have, but I freaked out because I didn't know. Okay,
you didn't know who was running for president.
Right. He voted Kanye.
So did I, actually.
I'm used to, gambling on sports. So from doing so for so many years, I understand the ebb and flow of how things go, and especially
you're a rapper now
during live betting, which is very popular nowadays. If anybody gambles through an app, you could live bet, and throughout the entire game, election, whatever it is, it's a market. It's just a current market, and the values go up and down dependent on what's happening in the game, or in this case, the election. And then, so I'm watching these live odds swing wildly to at one point, Trump was a gigantic favorite in the middle of the night, like at 10 or 11, it was like Trump at minus 250 or something. Biden was plus 200 or something. It's like completely opposite swung from the very beginning, because Biden started at minus 200, minus 175.
Boots on the ground and boots in the mail. That's what you're counting.
And then when I woke up, it swung wildly back. So I wasn't aware enough with the election and how these swings, I have never done it before, that it freaked me out. I was like, I don't know where to go. But now in retrospect, I wish I would have bet one way when the odds were the best. But anyway, so
yeah, exactly. The quote-unquote money line right now is Biden 1.12 and Trump 5.50. If you're going straight up money line bet right now on them,
Josh, we don't know your weirdo Canadian odds. Just
leave
tell
us.
I think
it's Trump 3 Maple Leafs, and it's gonna be Biden is sitting at 2 cherry candies.
Last time,
what does that even mean?
No, last time I looked at the odds, it was Biden minus 750. Is that what you got, Josh? I got 750.
Yeah, well, I just looked up the quote-unquote money line, but you're not allowed to, Tom. It's illegal, right? Based on what I've researched, it is illegal for you guys to gamble on your own election. Because you could sway the numbers and stuff, right?
If you're watching,
who's going to win?
Yeah, if you're watching on Twitch right now, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live, you just saw Tom do the Chris D'Elia, which is where he realizes he cannot.
No, it's not. Josh, you got that wrong. It's
illegal.
It's totally illegal to gamble. Vegas,
Sam's looking it up right now, and Sam's going to prove me right.
No, Josh, Vegas. I see the other gambling podcasts and everybody in the gambling world talking about betting on this election. Vegas was taking odds on it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you could bet on
politics. Hey, let me tell you something right now, Josh.
This is America, Josh.
When you call into this show, you can do a lot of things, but don't you ever tell me about freedom.
I also
now get out there and vote.
In Florida and in other states around the country, we have to use offshore apps, which is which is legal, by the way.
Yeah, there's workarounds.
But
we're working them.
But in Vegas, for sure,
don't worry about it.
There's tons of people that, I mean, there was a live market going. There was a lot of money.
Did you put some money? Did you bet?
Josh?
I did not. No.
See, the thing is finding the value at the right times. If you would have bet, let's say, the right time to bet on Biden was about 10 o'clock p.m. No, on election night.
47 years ago.
When he was plus 250, you bet 100 to win 250. Like, it's, he was the massive underdog in the middle of the night. So then, but I think most people like myself didn't understand the ebb and flow of what was going on. I don't know what,
right.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was I don't know
that's the
enough.
smartest thing you've ever
still
said.
don't know what's going on.
That's the smartest thing you've ever said. I don't think anybody understands what the hell's going on right now.
Plus,
so I'm okay with that. We're all in the same boat.
I stayed away from politics so much that I didn't even really understand the process of, like, I didn't realize how many the mail-in ballots were left over, and they count those at the end. And then
I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then I watched QVC.
And then there's like some states count them at the end of the night, and some states count them at the beginning.
I start with my vegetables. I finish with my meat.
But I will tell you, the gamblers that had their finger on it and knew about all the details, I think fared the best.
Sure.
But the people like me and everybody else that were novice, like, I was like, I don't know.
You don't want to get involved in that. It's politics,
Well, I want to get involved with money. I'll bet on whoever I think is going to win.
Just stick with your football. It's more fun.
I didn't know enough, Josh, so I missed out. But now, in 4 years from now I know. I learned, and
man,
I'm going to be betting heavy next year. Or
2028.
Okay. All right, so 2 topics
What
ahead today, guys. I have 2 left over. We'll pick one or both. Canadian chocolates, far superior to American chocolates, and Canadian medical innovations. Where would you like to go to first?
I mentioned cherry candies. And I want to go. I want to go chocolate. I want to go fun.
Okay. So I picked some brands here, guys, literally just now out of my son's Halloween bag that I'm pretty sure you guys don't have any of these.
Ew, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't talk about your son's Halloween bag on the show. My God, man.
Coffee Crisp.
What about this one, guys? Coffee Crisp.
We have Cookie Crisp, which is a cereal.
Coffee Crisp?
Well, a bunch of
going on?
Canadian real men up there.
You're giving my kids coffee candy?
Oh, my God.
Okay, you got the Coffee Crisp. Oh, boom. Look at this baby. You got a Wonder Bar.
Okay, well... Okay.
All of your wrappers are boring. Just all yellow and brown.
Hold on. That's a Cadbury product. That's going to be good chocolate.
Hold on, Josh.
That's Cadbury, yep.
Because you are familiar with American candy, right?
Yeah, it's garbage.
Well, hold on.
Oh, now you're going to...
Hold on.
You're pissing off the eagle.
You're trying to tell me first gambling on politics is illegal in the United States? Ridiculous. And then your stinko Canadian candy is better?
Oh, gloves are coming off today, buddy. I'm day drinking. It's on.
All right.
Tom is...
Milky Way.
Tom is... he is a die-hard right Twix supporter.
Milky Way. It's the perfect name. Coffee Crisp. Gross. Like, I want my coffee crispy. No one wants that.
No,
It's stupid.
I don't want that.
What does that even mean?
It means it's dry.
Also, Josh, give me the similarity. What is a coffee crisp like? Is it like a...
So it's here. I'm even going to open it for you. So it's obviously milk chocolate on the outside, and then it's just kind of like wafers and like a little filling and like coffee flavored filling.
So
yeah,
it's
kind
like
of Kit Katty
coffee
with
Kit Kat.
coffee flavored inside.
I might actually like that.
Yeah, I'd get down on that.
You know what? You just brought up a good point there, Sam. I'm just noticing a trend here as far as packaging. Yellow package, yellow package.
What's
and
up
then
with
the
this?
last one I was going to show you, well, I get some more, but this last one I'll show you, Mr. Big, yellow package as well. So there's definitely a trend there. But I'll tell you why your chocolate is garbage compared to ours in Europe, because of the chocolate standards. What, by our Food and Drug Administration, what can legally be called chocolate has to have a certain amount of fat content and cocoa content.
Yeah.
And those standards in Canada and Europe are much higher. Your chocolate has lower standards, lower fat, not as much cocoa, way more sugar. That's why it's kind of more grainy, and it's just not as good. Canadian chocolate's far superior, and if anybody can disprove that, it's on.
America is known for its lower standards.
Yeah,
so way more sugar. Right. I want the sugar. I don't want the pure cocoa from the plant.
You want the creaminess and the fat.
But it's grainy. These ones, you guys have probably heard of these. Butler especially has. I'm sure he's had those.
Oh, we were just talking about Smarties. Yeah, that's like
our Smarties are different.
Well, his version are chocolate. Europe's Smarties are like almost like an M&M. Yeah, like a sixlet. Yeah.
do you have M&Ms or something like that?
We do, yeah. So we do have American brands like Twix, Kit Kat that you guys have, and we do have M&Ms as well.
Are they full fat Twix? Like, are they a different recipe, or do you get the American?
Yeah, it has higher fat content, higher cocoa content, less sugar content.
Yeah, big fat Twix.
Is it like the really good
Mexican Coke?
Mexican Coke. So it's like, should we look for Canadian Twix? Which
Absolutely.
sounds like
Terrible.
a euphemism for gay Canadian.
Or it sounds like a really boring dance.
Come on, baby! Send you some? Want me to send you some?
Canadian
I'll steal a bunch out of my kid's Halloween bag and mail them to you.
Butler would love that.
Because hold on, now can we get are they more expensive? Like books here? Why are your books more expensive here?
Yeah.
It makes me mad every time.
What's up with that?
I'm like, oh, Canada.
Because we proofread them before we publish them.
You think you're so good with your expensive books?
Yeah, well, like one book for me is like $12.99. I look for you guys like $22. I'm like, whoa!
So I wonder if you can get Canadian candy.
They do have the international aisle in Publix.
I always
but
feel
it's
very
usually like British.
I feel
candies
very
and foods.
pretentious when I'm on those aisles. And then I look at all the stuff. They're like, we put all this stuff in here from other countries for you to buy. And I look at it and I'm like, yeah, but it's all a bunch of old lady Mima garbage.
Yeah.
It's like little octagon cookies that come in
Thin crisps.
in a long tube, right?
Ah.
And then it has like, what's it flavored like? Well, it's unsugared gingerbread. I'm like, well, who the hell eats that?
Yeah.
An old lady would eat that.
Yeah.
So it's all a bunch of old lady biscuits and little
Yeah.
tins of like small fish.
You're right. Yeah.
Little fish and little pots of meat and stuff. I'm like, nobody eats that.
It's tins of fish and biscuits.
Yeah, nobody eats any of that.
Fish and biscuits.
So, Josh, will you
I
mail
guess
us?
I'm fish.
Okay, because we'll get the Stonius of Bolognius
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
to do a taste test of Canadian
Oh, I
chocolate.
like that.
Because he is a.
Let's get Stone Canadian
Candy
chocolate
man.
tasted off. All right.
Yeah. And I feel like Butler will tell us what candy's better, right? He knows. He's a
Well, he
candyman.
claims that he knows, but he ate some.
And so skinny, too.
Yeah,
we've talked about this before. He's still in good shape. I don't get it.
He doesn't eat anything.
No.
Like
he smokes copious amounts of weed, then
yeah,
he eats candy and hides from his wife.
Yeah, he can't eat anything but candy and weed.
Yeah.
I'm also kind of considering he might be bulimic since he vomits so much.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we
yeah.
might
We
want
hear him
to look
vomiting.
into that.
And his isn't like anxiety. His is just like, I'm having so much fun. I'm vomiting.
Yeah, and his teeth are all burned out in the back.
Oh, don't look at the back.
That's
saw
because he's
him.
British.
Oh, it's back.
I saw him back there.
It's like flip the dartboard around. It's got too many holes in it.
So,
That's the baseball side. Turn it over back around. We got to get a new one. Go to play it again.
Josh, what's the Canadian technology? Sounds like
Well, we're going to
Polish
medical.
joke.
Specifically, I was going to go some Canadian medical innovation. So there's been lots, including like baby formula. That was invented by a Canadian back in the 60s.
Great.
or
Thanks for
50s.
taking my entire wallet, Canada. That stuff's so
You
expensive.
remember back in the 70s, too, it was we went through this weird trend in the medical community where they would tell women not to breastfeed and use formula instead, which was wildly inaccurate.
Yeah.
You guys remember hearing about that?
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
my wife tried to breastfeed, but then she wasn't producing enough milk. So I would shame her and be
Yeah.
like, well, obviously you don't
failure.
care.
Yeah, you don't love your
You don't love your
baby.
your
Failure,
daughter. I
you
mean,
don't love-
naturally,
exactly.
if you really loved your daughter, then it would be flowing like the Rio
Yeah,
Grande.
yeah.
But you don't, and that's
Yeah,
why it's
that's
dry.
fact.
And then
Yeah.
I told her, and she's like, well, what should I do? And I was like, well, you should definitely kill yourself.
It's a sign of weakness and
Yeah.
lack of love for your kids. if you can't.
You know what?
Yeah.
You're right. That's
Yeah.
and that's just science. You can read about it. All the information's out there.
So
That's
we
the new
had-
one
yeah,
that
so
people
we
tell
had
me. I
baby-
like it.
We have baby formula, some other notable ones like some innovations with open heart surgery. Some cancer research was that's been pretty innovative by Canadians.
Blah,
but big
blah.
one.
Come to me when you invent the fastest car, the jet car. That's
Okay,
and we
I
can
got
go
one
to
for
the
you.
desert.
Yeah, where
and be like
is-
Canadian jet car. Whoa.
Okay, cure for cancer or Dubai jetpack?
yeah.
I mean,
Who invented that?
Who's cooler, Dubai jetpack?
Yeah.
Okay, the big one, our white whale of medical inventions by Canadians, and shout out to Baba Whoop-Ass Wilson, insulin was invented in Canada.
Yeah, because your
Discovered by
chocolate's
Canadians.
better.
We're like, this chocolate is killing us. We need an antidote.
we need to fix this problem. Our chocolate's so pure and delicious. We're all dying.
Now, some would say, Josh, that the body invented insulin because that's what it is. Basically, you're just taking the insulin that your body...
This is true, yeah.
So you really just figured out a way to mimic the insulin that's created in our body or somehow created in a lab.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was discovered way back in 1921 by an orthopedic surgeon by the name of Frederick Banting. And yes, obviously, we knew what insulin was. And back then, if you had type 1 diabetes, that was it. You were done. But the biggest thing he discovered was just a way for your body to absorb it without it, without it just degenerating or decaying away. So it was basically, we knew what insulin was, but he patented and invented the way so that your body could uptake the insulin and use it so your blood sugar doesn't go through the roof and you go into a coma.
Cool.
Do people actually, it seems to me that when some medical innovation or someone finds out like this guy, he figured out a way to make insulin.
Fred Blanting.
Those people,
Banting, yeah.
Do they instantly become rich in some way, or are they openly sharing it with for the betterment of humanity, and therefore they may
most of the researchers I know aren't very lucrative.
Yeah.
I know a guy that has done, seriously, in DeLand, my hometown, I know a guy that's done more. He's kind of like what your friend John the Wizard does, where he's an environmental scientist.
Yeah.
And he has done more for that area. He actually has certain plants named after himself. He's put the time in, and man, he ain't got nothing to show for it. I mean, he works probably 100 times harder than I ever will. And it's a very, very, I do it because I love it type of job.
Yeah. So it's probably you're poor, but you're famous for probably saving the lives of what now? Hundreds of millions of people at this point?
The world, you could say. Right?
Yeah. So, man, diabetes was like, even my stepdad...
It's not as cool as it used to be.
Well, my stepdad told me a story that in the 70s, they told him, his doctor said, you'll probably only live to like 40 with type 1 diabetes. So even in the 70s, they had low expectations of lifespan, which is crazy to me. It's like, why?
How do you figure the numbers? Because there's for cancer there's stages, and with diabetes there's types. Is the less the number, is it like golf, the lower the number and that's the better thing, or is it the higher the number that's the bad?
Well, type 1 means that your body can't produce insulin at all.
I think we should make it easier, because I feel like if you have stage 1 cancer, you know what I mean? I want to know which direction we're...
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, type 1 is actually the more serious. And
right.
Cancer,
it's 5.
There's less, 4. Yes. Yeah, there is no 5.
I was making a joke. 5 is,
Yeah. So, you're right. Get it together with your numbers, medical community.
Yeah, I just want to know which direction it goes in.
Your type 2 diabetes would be like, you just love life too much. Too fat.
You're just sweet. You're just a sweet person.
You're just too fat. You got it. If you got skinny, don't got it.
Hey, are you back with your family?
Yeah, he's stealing his son's candy.
Oh, look at him. I froze him. Look how serious he is.
Oh, no.
I froze him. He looks like he's pooping.
He looks like Ricky Gervais joined Nirvana.
There's a lot of talk in the chat about Josh's looks today, because it's the first time a lot of the Twitch chat people have seen him. We've got a lot of Gervais. We got a lot of Paul Blart with a leather jacket on.
Did he try calling us back? It
usually tries to reconnect. But,
still trying.
We're almost out of time anyway.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
No, just to him. Just to him.
Bye-bye.
No, just to him. Just to him.
Don't scare the Pullman.
Should I get rid of him here? Should I?
There's nothing we can do.
Sorry, Josh.
Oh, bye-bye.
Oh, no.
Oh, he's gone.
That's his one
Go to
chance.
jcvoiceover.com if you want some voiceover work.
I wanted
to
ask him the quintessential, how cold is it there? But we didn't get a chance, so you'll never know now.
Yeah, you won't. I mean, you can't look it up either.
No.
Don't. But if you do, don't tell me.
I only wanted to hear from Josh.
I only want to
hear from the source.
Yeah, I want to hear from the source.
Yeah. Like, how great is it? Pretty cold. All right. It's colder other places. That's interesting.
Send us some chocolate.
It's different weather other places. Weird.
It is crazy.
How does weather work?
It is weird how that works out.
Oh, it's hot there. Whoa.
Josh has
Cold?
Josh is I find him very attractive.
He's not a bad looking
Yeah,
fella.
I think he's a good looking guy.
How do Canadians fare in
I thought you were doing a joke.
in the good looks realm? Because I feel like Canadian
There's some hot
actors.
Canadians.
Yeah,
Jared Kiso.
But I'm talking general public because, like, if you walk down the street in Sweden, I'm not.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, it's weird.
I mean, Crystal has been there, and she's like,
She's here.
The girl. Oh,
She
babe,
is
Bring
here.
her in.
hey.
He doesn't have his glasses on.
You
He
can
didn't
bring
know.
your what do you got? Avocado soup. You can bring it in here, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk to you
Yeah.
about Sweden.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
don't got enough time for you to get a drink. It's gonna be 2 seconds. We're
why-
out of time now.
Oh man,
Come
that
on.
is not cool.
I'm joking. I have no idea.
We could take a break and come back.
So I don't want to. You're
Okay.
eating lunch. Oh, you got
Oh my
Butler
God,
getting.
he opened it
my
for me.
God.
Thank
That's
you.
service.
yeah, but he doesn't
you know
wash
what?
his hands.
Now
so
your
that's-
COVID fingers are on my soda.
Yeah, he
definitely
doesn't
got
wash
it
his
too.
hands. I know he doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he definitely got it. He was at a
Yeah.
Halloween party.
Yeah, this guy.
Tons of. He won
yeah.
in first place.
That guy.
He said it was a
yeah.
super
And
spreader.
Mr. Sanford.
Yeah.
You know?
He says, I saw him there. It's like Tom and Ann Cruz.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, he was busting ghosts, but you know.
So we were talking about how, like, the good looks of countries, and in Sweden,
God, there's-
everybody's beautiful, right?
They're so beautiful over there. I don't know why.
When
Yeah.
you told me that even the girls at McDonald's, and no offense if you work at McDonald's any other place, but they are like,
Well, I'm used to
You know.
America anyway, right?
Yeah,
We're,
yeah,
like, fatter than any other nation and
Right.
yeah, and you said
unkempt a little bit.
the girl that even was at
Yes,
the drive-thru.
everybody. They're all just like these beautiful. My brother and I were there calling them the beautiful Swedish babies. Just everybody, everywhere you look is gorgeous. No matter what job you do or where you live,
It's gonna be hard
rich,
to.
poor, they're all gorgeous.
Just good genes.
It's gotta be
right?
hard to move there as a chungus.
yeah.
Oh.
You know, you move in.
No,
you're,
but-
Do you become unchungus?
No, but
no, you kill yourself in your
Okay.
apartment.
No, they put no.
Sad.
If you wanna move to Sweden, they'll pay for you to live there, and they'll educate you on how to become Swedish, and they like teach you the language, and they make you become beautiful also before they admit you.
Yeah, but I know, like our old
Yeah,
intern.
yeah. The actual
Yeah.
chungus.
Yeah, if he moves to Sweden,
there's
then
no amount of
uh,
anything, whatever.
No,
Eh,
he's too powerful. For
wasn't there a
Sweden.
movie where there was like a
No, it's a show with Will Ferrell.
where he was the gross guy, and then he
Oh.
was around. I thought there was a movie where there was some ugly
King Ralph.
ugly guy.
I thought there was some movie where some uggy ugg went over to Sweden.
There was some
Yeah.
ugly guy that was in a world where everybody's good looking, and then the women thought he was good looking only because he was different than everybody else. You see what I'm saying? They were attracted to the difference.
Shallow Hal.
I think you're thinking of the ending of All About Love. What is that movie?
don't
Love
know.
Actually. Love Actually.
Oh,
Is
I
that
never
what it
saw
is?
that.
Yeah, like the ugly, dummy British guy goes to like some place in Wisconsin, and all the hot chicks are like, "Ooh, we like your accent." Is that it?
Well, yeah, that's more of an accent.
Or is it
I
the
think-
Amy Poehler show you just mentioned?
No, I can't remember.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I was
I don't know
trying.
either.
I was
Why
trying.
don't you try watching a show where you're not blasted to the moon?
Anyway, I'm just saying, if I'm in
Every show he
Canada,
goes to tell me about, he'll go.
What was that thing?
I was like, he's like, I watched this great documentary last night. I don't
remember any
I
of
don't
it.
know what. No, I didn't watch it. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Remember when he was trying to convince me that SNL didn't happen this past
Oh,
weekend?
yeah.
That's
Okay,
what I'm saying.
but
This guy
we
is
both-
time traveling in his mind. He doesn't know what shows he's
that
watching.
was, I just started too early on Halloween, and by the time
Oh,
midnight
yeah.
came around, I
Oh,
was
you're a werewolf.
No, but like we talked about it on Sunday. We were like, "Oh, there was no SNL last night. That's weird." But we had watched it.
Right.
Wow, you too?
Only the next
Wow,
Well,
it's
you-
like a double memento.
you fell asleep on the couch, and I am home in.
Would you power through?
Yeah, that's where
but-
you wake up. You have to sweep the glass from the wine glass into a paper bag without waking the entire house out.
I don't
because
drink-
it fell out of your hand. I know I've done that for my mom before.
Like, the cigarette burned the couch.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never burned
I
it down.
gently pick up my mom. She's drinking. It's sad because she's using a plastic palm tree wine glass inside. That's for the pool, Mom. It's not for inside. Yes, it is. It's the tile glass. Okay, I get it. You have a problem.
All I'm saying
Not you.
is,
Not my mom.
I bet if you walk around Canada, you're not thinking the same thing. It's all for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're not looking around. You're like, everybody's beautiful here. I was like, it's Canada. It's some lumberjacks and rough living up.
Lumberjacks can be hot.
They can be. But, you know.
That's only in.
Are there any smooth lumberjacks?
Are Canadians fat like we are?
Hold on.
Fatter than
I think
the rest of
they're
Europe.
probably about the same as us, right?
Yeah, I think they're kind of rotund.
Okay, I'm going to venture to guess and say that being a very attractive lumberjack is a super rarity, and that's just in movies.
I think most
and
lumberjacks
paper towel
are
marketing.
Are big chunguses.
And they're rough
But
life.
it came
hard
from
necks.
somewhere, right?
Well, because
Right.
it came from what you want the most, you know? Like,
It's
I
just-
want a girl that's into fantasy football that looks like Giselle Bundchen, but it's not a thing. So you take what you want and you make it into something that's not real,
But
and you
isn't
project
that
your love on it.
Exactly a thing. Giselle Bundchen is married to Tom Brady. Like, isn't she? She exists. She is
Yeah,
a
but
hot
she's
woman
not
who's into
in-
football.
But I don't think she's into football.
Yeah. She don't know anything about football.
No.
You know, she-
I just know that I make more money than you.
Yeah.
She knows as much about football as I know about podcasting.
You know a lot about podcasting.
If she
No,
makes
there's
more
not-
money.
there's nothing to know
Here's
about
the thing,
podcasting.
She makes more money than he does, so she's not even inclined to learn about the sport of her husband. That makes she's the breadwinner. She don't give a damn. She goes to the game, watches.
You're silly little game.
yeah.
I'm a billionaire.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. You can go eat your lunch now.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Whoa.
Thank you.
Wow.
That was a
What was
Daniel.
that supposed to-
You know
Permission
what?
to go eat
that
your
was
lunch?
a Daniel move. You have gained so much in my eyes now. Now I believe in this company. This company's going places because we got a guy that shoots from the hip. He's a straight shooter. Sure, he's rough around the edges a little bit, but he says what he feels. And I can feel that you care about this country. I mean, this show more than anybody.
Thank you for excusing me.
Oh, I said how I felt the other day, and then everybody listened to it. I said, stop commenting on my doo-doos. And
He did. He put his foot down.
And then they did. And now everybody's just quiet when they go in there and it's
And
bad.
then when he comes out, we're quiet, which is more awkward. Do you know what we call him?
I didn't know anybody commented on your poops.
Do you know what we
because
call
it
him?
stinks out
Because
real
of
He
bad.
came home the other day to poop before he came here.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, you want to know why?
Oh, we've shamed him.
Because his doo-doos smell like a sugar fire. They're
Yeah.
sweet
Yeah.
and
She's familiar.
yeah,
It
they're
smells like
lives with
strawberry diarrhea. That's what I.
yes, that's good.
I think it's not the diabetes.
Yeah, it's
Going
like-
back
You
to
might want to get that
diabetes,
checked out.
yeah, it
so
smells
sugary.
like a rancid creamsicle. Is like
Yeah, I think that's the diabetes killing my organs.
Do you have diabetes?
And so it's like it smells like death, but there's sugar and mixed in.
he doesn't have
the
no. He
sugar's
doesn't, nobody here has diabetes, but we are all pre-diabetic.
Yeah.
We're on the tightrope of diabetes.
Oh yeah, and I'm only 1 foot in it. You guys will be fine. But I am 1 foot in it. And I'm Walinda in that ass. I'm about to.
Yeah, 1 foot is
Yeah,
good
you're
as
about
gone.
to. I'm about to make my final destination right off the Eiffel Tower.
You're about to be 1 foot in it for a long time.
They're calling you strawberry short stink in the chat.
Hey, that's not what
I
I'm
used
talking
to call
about.
them strawberry fart cakes. I used to call you strawberry
Yeah.
fart
It's the
cakes.
smoothies, huh?
Yeah, something.
Oh yeah, he's told us you're making him smooth. You're his smoothie boy
Yeah,
now.
they're good.
I'm the smoothie girl.
Yeah. Do you
The
do?
sweetie. I'm the smoothie.
Do you do it with
sweetie.
your boobs out?
No, the kids are there. And also, I wouldn't anyway.
Hey, my wife. I was gonna tell this on the Friday Free Show, but it's just a mention, and I'll say it while you're here. My wife. Yesterday morning, she was getting out of bed, and she was taking her clothes off to get dressed. So she was completely naked, and she was doing a move that I guess most women do because we do it with our genitals, is you're moving things around because you've got appendages up there. You've got boobs, and you got to, move them and put them in things.
Gotta shake them off.
Yeah, so my
Shake 'em
wife,
off.
we use Alexa to, start and stop the fan and music and stuff like that. So she was turning off the Dyson fan, my wife was, and she goes, Alexa, Dyson off. That's what she said. But Alexa didn't hear that. Alexa heard Jason Aldean, so she started playing the latest country hit from Jason Aldean as my wife was shaking her boobs back and forth. So I come out of the closet fully dressed to my wife shaking her tees to Jason
Nice.
Aldean. And I got to tell you, I like it.
Good morning.
I'm all about it. I'm all about my wife dancing naked to country music.
Yeah,
And you're
there
the
you
only
go.
person I know that listens to country music. So I'm in.
It's been a while that I haven't been listening to country. But
Oh, really?
yeah.
Who's the new country artist now? That's
I don't know. I feel like I liked Brooks and Dunn, but I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know all this.
my God.
Oh yeah.
I don't know all this new stuff.
Brooks and Dunn.
I think it was
Brooks
them.
and Dunn is 92.
I like 90s country.
So do I.
hard
I listen to
man.
90s country, but that's
I wear
about
a
it.
steel hard hat. I can rope ride all night. The most in my hands is most mankind.
Yeah, I don't know about all this new stuff. I really don't like Jason Aldean.
Yeah, I don't either. He looks like a mole.
Yeah, he's not good.
He looks like
I
a
don't
mole.
like his voice. But anyway.
Well, no, a lot of the
Sorry,
country
everybody.
guys, it's a vibe. It's not necessarily a voice, but some of them do have really good voices.
Whatever happened to big old Randy Travis?
Oh, he's fine.
Okay.
Is he okay now?
Yeah,
because he went through some things.
Yeah, he went through some things. He's
a lot of DUIs.
He's a godman, and he's
a lot
been
of
one for a minute.
being found naked in his car.
Is he bipolar?
He's definitely an alcoholic for sure, but there might be some opiates involved.
I believe he.
Well, usually it's when you start getting nude, it's like more than just an alcoholic. It's like there's some mental thing.
It's possible.
Oh yeah, I know that firsthand. He did a cover of his own song. Remember the song "Forever and Ever, Amen"?
Yes.
He did that, I believe, with the guy that has a very similar deep voice called Josh Turner, who did the train. What is that? Something about the
long black train.
That's a great song. So I think they just did a cover together.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty good.
TC hates that song. Actually, he doesn't. He probably don't remember it, but I made him listen to it
What,
one
Long
time
Black Train?
really loudly when I was mad at him. Yeah.
The Long Black Train by Josh Turner.
It's very country.
It's old school country. Yeah, it's be considered more traditional style. You don't like that?
I don't.
See, he doesn't even like music.
I know.
I mean, come
It
on.
I like
hurts my
music.
heart.
Come on.
No, you don't. You text me from your hot tub. You're like, I'm in the hot tub as high as Chong. Give me something to play on Alexa.
This is how I asked for music.
And then I just do what I always say. Put Sublime on.
Stupid.
That's it. That's all we ever listen to. We just like to live in the 90s still.
That's what happens. You're just stuck in your ways.
The 90s was a good time.
It was fun.
Was it though? It was not.
I liked it. I like the 90s.
Yeah, we liked it, but if you go back and look what was going on,
Well,
you're
look around now. I mean, he's like, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
The high sides.
I don't know about that.
High sides are back.
Are they back?
Yeah, dude. The 90s are back now. This is your time to shine.
Yeah.
So what? The high side.
Bell bottoms
I
are back.
can't wear high side anymore. Like I could in the 90s. I can't now.
Because there's that. I feel like you need to have a
Careful
smooth transition.
Yeah,
Not with you, but I'm saying
you're
really with
inching
me.
into. Okay, as long as you take yourself out of play, I will now open my mouth.
If the high side has to go up a ramp to go around, the
Yeah,
back,
if it's like one of those Colorado emergency ramps.
if it looks like an emergency semi
Ramp.
truck ramp.
There are some girls that do the cutout in the center, so they do a strip over their big fat chungus belly, and then they just hang their sides out.
The scallops on the sides.
and look, I'm not saying it's a bad looking thing. It's obviously a style. I wouldn't put myself in it with a belly, you know.
Yeah.
I just always think with those it'd be a weird tan line with just the strip down the middle. It's weird to me.
Yeah, burn your gut bread.
I've always wanted my wife to wear the one that's just a V over the T's, and that way,
Borat bathing suit.
Yeah, that way I can just grab it and go right in the middle, and I do it all day, like 25 times. I just like blamp, blamp.
Bye-bye. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan, Samantha, and Butler, all hanging out today in the studio.
So we have someone on Skype, and I'm curious to what she's been doing since the pandemic started.
I feel like we haven't seen other human
we had
beings.
her booked.
Yeah, we
I
did have
know.
her booked.
I know. This is what's interesting. Yeah. It's like,
Our last event would have been, it would have been our last event, but we didn't get to execute it, right?
yeah, because we literally called it days before. When the NBA called it, we all were like,
COVID's real.
Yeah, we were just like, the NBA, then Tom Hanks. It was like that week, and then we were like,
when the NBA and Tom Hanks are telling you something.
Yeah.
Two of the biggest things in the world, right?
Yeah.
So on the line with us right now is our friend Kat Ridgway. What's up, Kat?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Oh,
No
thanks
problem.
for doing it.
So, you were going to be performing at our BDM event back in March, and then we had to pull it last second because of COVID, and it was like at the time that it was first happening, everybody was confused on what's going on, and then obviously we all lived through it, the subsequent lockdown and everything, and now you're actually you're performing on Saturday at Elixir, free concert. Is it totally free to anybody who comes?
Yes, it is.
So, are you just telling people to just show up? You don't have to register or anything?
Yeah, you don't have to do anything, but we are, being really COVID conscious and safe about everything. Where we're taking temperature checks at the door, strongly encouraging masks. We have hand sanitizing stations all around, all that kind of stuff. But as far as tickets go, it's all fair game. Just show up.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
now, Kat, is this your first show since COVID started? Have you been performing other places?
I'm gonna say like quote unquote yes, but I've been doing a couple of like restaurant type gigs, just solo stuff that I do, like more like cover shows. But as far as like me playing my own show with my band, yeah, this is the first time we're actually back on stage together, and it's, oh man, I'm so excited.
Yeah, wow. Now, because there's been lots of talks about like how much this has affected entertainers out there, and especially entertainers that didn't have millions of dollars in the bank to just sit for a while and wait it out. I mean, we're talking about people that have to work every week and like, paycheck to paycheck entertainers. Not that you're that, but there's a lot of smaller bands and performers and stuff that make their living. It's just like, and now they are all out of work. Like, if you had a lot of friends, I'm sure you know a lot of other people in bands and entertainers that have had a rough go. And how'd you get through the past 8 months?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I still ask myself how I've made it this far all the time. But I've been really, really fortunate to have my family just completely supporting me. So I've just been crashing with mom and dad. And I actually started a live stream series on my Facebook page where I was just learning covers that people were requesting. And I'd learn a whole slew of new songs every week. And we kept it up for like 10 weeks straight. And I was, again, just super, super fortunate. And I'm really grateful to everybody that tuned in, because they actually supported me and kept me afloat for months with the contributions and the virtual tip jar contributions and stuff that everyone was helping out with. And I was awesome. Like, dang. And that was actually what allowed me to finish getting this record, the new record that's coming out this week. I was able to take all of those funds. That was what allowed me to be able to pay for everything. So thank you to everybody.
That's awesome. We saw a lot of that happen. Like
you
Jeff
really
Howe,
are, yeah.
And like some of our other friends that are entertainers and perform for a living, they started doing virtual stuff just to get by.
It's almost like direct-to-consumer music,
yeah.
And what's cool to see is the community support these people and their friends and family and fans of these people's art. They're like, we need to help them. I'll donate, $10 each time they play virtually, whatever. And that's cool to see. Like, no one ever talks about the positive parts of like, hey, we were able to support each other in this and help each other out and help people that we knew were affected most.
It's easy to take that stuff for granted, but when we're all in the middle of a pandemic, which is something that, I think for the most part, nobody even planned of thinking of the word pandemic, right? Of our lifetime. It's easy to take for granted these musicians and these great local artists that we have that provide for us in our communities. And now we kind of got a reminder of that. And we're trying to prop them up.
So, Kat, were you able to actually learn a bunch of new songs because of it? Like, we've talked to people that started doing something virtually, and actually they come out on the other side now, and they're like, "Well, I spent the last 8 months learning this, and
I
actually
wrote a book."
Or they pivoted.
Yeah, I did. I learned a lot of new tunes, from a lot of artists that I hadn't even heard of before, just because people were like, hey, have you heard of this band? You should cover it, And I was like, okay. So I learned a bunch of music when I was doing the live stream stuff, but I ended up switching gears, and with this new record, I actually picked up more graphic design skills.
Nice.
So the actual album cover and the album design and all of the merch and my website and actually down to the stage banners and all the promotional materials for this show this week with Sean Mullins. I did all of the graphic design for every single piece of, merch or promotional
That's
stuff.
Very cool, man.
Yeah,
that is very cool.
Well, it's cool that you took the time to learn something else. You're like, it's I like that. And it goes to show that
it's an arrow in the quiver, right? Like it's a skill set that, I've always looked at, radio or broadcasting or podcasting is like that. Like the more I can learn and the more arrows I can gather, then the more problems I'll be able to solve.
exactly.
Kat, let me ask you a question. When did you realize, at what age did you realize that you were a musician or you had a talent for music? Because I'm trying to look at my sons and figure out where to push them towards.
Okay.
And it seems like my youngest, Max, he tends to go to, we have this big computer that my wife, piano that my wife uses as a
step one. Figure out the difference
as a laundry folding station, and just sits there. And Max is more gravitated to it. He'll push and I taught him Sonic, like ding,
Cool.
ding, 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 and he's like, and that's all I got. And then Tommy's not interested in it. Is that any sign that all right, Max is good to go with music?
Oh, yeah.
Or am I gonna be totally off with that? Or like, what is it?
I don't know. For me, I remember my mom telling me, even when I was like a little baby, she would sing to me instead of reading me stories, and my eyes would just get huge, and I was just really responsive to music. So I think just the fact that one of your sons is just reacting to it and enthusiastic about it, that's enough to just keep putting instruments in front of them. Keep telling them, like, make noise, be loud, you know?
See,
having the space to do that, that's the difference, I think, between people who end up going into having creative talents and people who maybe get kind of steered away from them, you know?
See, that's the thing, is he's not enthusiastic about it. Tom forces him to do it every afternoon.
Also, could you sing as a baby? Like, were you a singing baby? Did they?
They called her Lady Gaga.
Hey, mama, where's your nipples? I want some milk.
Well, Max one day just starts singing. I'm like, oh, he's a singing baby. He's got it. Or do I have to teach him? Like, will he do
I hope
it?
that one day you're just brushing your teeth, hungover, and then all of a sudden you hear, when you're down and out. He's like singing like,
yeah. Like, how does it work?
That was great. That was exactly what I sounded like.
Like, did you just were you singing as a child and everybody, like all the adults were like, whoa, this child can sing?
Or maybe they did that move.
Like, I just remember, like, I do have one very distinctive memory when I was still too young to be in school. So I just, maybe in preschool. And I was in the car with my mom to pick up my brother from, like, kindergarten or whatever. And the song, oh God, who was it? Was Ricky Martin with that song, like, you can run, but you can't escape my love. You remember that?
Yes.
Forever ago.
You love that song, Tom.
That song is on, and I started singing along with the background vocals, and my mom was like, Catherine, you're on pitch. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like you're actually singing the right notes. And I remember her being like, I don't know, surprised, impressed, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
And I was kind of confused that was the reaction. And then I just kept singing. And when I was little, I used to apparently sing the Titanic theme song all the time and like jump up on tables and stuff. I don't remember this at all.
I want to make a note. Make Max sing.
Yeah.
What's his favorite song,
Livin'
Tom?
La Vida Loca.
Well, his favorite song is I Touch Myself by the Divinyls.
So you had a natural talent that your parents recognized young, like that you can, because is it a thing where you have it or don't? Like,
I kind of think so. Yeah.
You could now you could be close and maybe trained to get there, but the people that had, like Whitney Houston, just born, like you, Kat, you were just born with the ability to recognize the pitch and then hit it exactly. Yeah, that's all natural talent, but then you have to work on that talent to make it better.
I think so.
So I'll be able to know as soon as my son sing, I'll be like, you stink. Don't go that way.
And I think it's better though if your son's singing and he does stink. I do think it's better to be real with him than to. I'm not saying you should stomp his dream out, but I am not a big fan of the parent who lies to the kid and builds them up, and then they are like 18 and think that they have the best voice. You know what I mean? Because there's been no dose of reality. You know what I mean? Like, I'm being serious right now. Look, and I tell you guys all the time, I don't get uncomfortable on this show. that makes me uncomfortable. When it's the person that you guys artificially pumped them up, and you did that because you thought that if you were real with them that you'd hurt their feelings. Oh, that hurts my heart.
Let's talk about instruments, Kat. How long did you have a natural ability? Because I think it's with instruments too. Like me and Samantha were just talking before the show about.
Oh, that's right. You guys are in your recorder classes together, right?
Yeah.
About people that can play. They have no idea how to read music whatsoever, but they can play everything
by ear.
I know a lot of those people. Yeah.
And like that's amazing to me. I'm like, what? You're just able to play what you heard?
Yeah.
How? So
Yeah.
So were you like that? Did you have a natural ability?
I'm definitely more of a play it by ear type of person than sheet music for sure. But yeah, I think the first time I realized like, oh man, music is really cool, and my parents really got behind it was actually, you joked about recorders, but for real, when I was in 3rd grade, we had to do the whole karate belt recorder thing, and I flew through all of the songs because I was just so excited to learn all of them.
Yeah.
But the thing was, I was supposed to be reading the music, but I wasn't reading the music. I was just I would hear the song a couple of times, and then I just remember what it sounded like and use the notes to remember where to put my fingers.
That's exactly how I play too, yeah.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then fast forward, and I ended up picking up the trumpet in 4th grade, and same exact thing there. Like, I can't sight read for crap, but I can hear something and figure it out pretty quickly.
You play trumpet, Tom. Maybe you could get on stage with Kat.
Yeah.
Hey,
I could dust
horn
off.
section, let's
go. It's been a long
Dust
time
off the
since
old horn,
you've, tooted on the old brass barracuda, as you call it.
I have to tighten my embouchure.
Oh, yeah.
I get my lips. I got to get them tighter.
Yeah.
They got loose over time. Now my
his lips are. You should have seen his lips yesterday. They were. Oh man,
they're so loose.
He needed to have those things like trimmed up a little bit.
There's no muscle anymore. They've
atrophied.
The elastic is worn out.
Like,
even if he opens his mouth is still closed because his lips are loose.
Like, I can't even roll down the window when I'm driving, and if I'm talking on the phone, I roll down the window a little bit. My lips are flapping crazy.
We were at Publix yesterday, and they called us Turner and Hooch.
Oh my god.
I'm
That's
sorry,
not
Gavin.
funny. I'm sorry.
No. Okay. All right.
Well, we have to plug her gig
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
want to make sure we do our due diligence for Kat.
Free concert. Is it just you guys or the other band? I don't know.
She already mentioned
It's
it.
a big name. Okay, Kat, tell everybody who you're playing with.
Yeah, so I'm playing with my full band. It's going to be a 9-piece band with a horn section and everything. I'm super stoked. And I'm so excited. We're going to be sharing the stage with none other than Sean Mullins, who is the guy that wrote Everything's Gonna Be Alright, Rockabye.
See, she sings so
back
good.
from the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's gonna be alright, Tom Van.
And it's your CD release show, right?
Yeah.
It sure is, yes.
Can you get your CD there?
You can, and it's actually.
Why would she not sell the CD at a CD release show?
It is your CD release party. Can I get the CD there?
Yeah, you can.
Are you running out of batteries? What just happened?
What is going on?
I know you know the answer to that. That's the dumbest thing you've ever said. Don't do this to me, man.
I'm trying to promote it.
Are you?
I'm telling the people, you don't know how dumb our listeners are. They don't know. If they're listening to me, they're dumber than I am. So I have to tell them exactly what's going on.
He's not wrong.
You can't. No one smarter than me is listening to me. Why the hell would they listen to an idiot?
Kat, this is going to surprise you.
Nobody listens to a fool.
This is where I surprise you, Kat, and then I apologize to Tom. He's right.
Yeah. So it's me and below. Only. Nothing above. Nothing. I'm sorry, Kat. So tomorrow, Elixir, because this will go out on Friday. So I say tomorrow,
7:30
Saturday.
p.m., November 7th. Elixir. It's downtown Orlando on Washington Street. It's presented by the Jim Colbert Show.
And it's free, and presented by the Jim Colbert Show. It's free, and it's also it's like hey, let's all be cool, bro.
Is old man Colbert going to be out there?
Too old to be.
Yeah, he's got to be
immunity compromised.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He can't survive. Oh no,
man. Don't take the helmet off. As soon as you take the helmet off,
two masks on that guy. Mask on his hair, too.
Oh my God!
Because you can't lose the rest.
Yeah, you know what I call him, old Sleepy Jim Colbert.
Is Sleepy Jim going to be there?
Yeah, Sleepy Jim.
Oh, he's going to be mad.
You don't even know where he's at. Look at that guy. He's fumbling bully law. He's got his mask on his butt ass.
Oh, Sleepy Jim. Oh, he's sniffing your hair, Cat.
Don't let him sniff your hair, Cat. All right, Cat. Well, we love you. Have a great show. Thanks for calling in and letting us be a little stupid with you today.
Oh, my God. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, y'all.
See ya.
See ya, Cat.
She is too sweet.
Yeah,
because I don't think she realizes you guys have a relationship with Jim. You could tell she got uncomfortable when you guys were clowning him.
Oh, she should have. Sleepy Jim, we're coming for you.
I don't know why that's so funny. I still love that commercial at the end of the commercial where they're like, where he's like, I love it.
Okay, I totally lost track of how much time we're supposed to do or whatnot. Do we
just let this roll?
do we go and look at the producer?
I think we did 21 minutes with old Mike the Weather Page, so I think we have a few more minutes left.
What do you want to talk about here?
Lay my head on the table here for a second.
Lightheaded.
Has anybody ever done silence on radio?
They should.
I know it's unconventional.
We can do one moment of silence.
Remember when?
Can't we take a knee? Everybody else does it.
Oh, yeah. Here's a funny fact from old school radio days is that back in the day when they were simulcasts or we were with XM radio, there was this rule that you couldn't be silent for too long because it would trigger the software to think something's wrong and it would kick it over to something.
There was an inaudible tone that was buried in the programming. So what would happen is on certain levels, if it would detect the silence, it would send out that tone. You couldn't hear it, and then it would trigger the computers in New York City for our XM satellite radio channel. And we were on, I can't remember the channel we were on.
I don't remember either, yeah. It was back when they used to play a lot of radio.
Like 163, some channel like that.
So XM, you get free content.
So if you played a commercial and let's say the after the commercial, you didn't have anything, put in there. If it rolled for, and I believe it was 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Which is a really long time, really. But if it rolled for 10, it would shoot that tone out, and then it would cue their commercial. So even though we'd come back, XM wouldn't hear us.
Yeah, they used to get so mad.
They'd yell at us and get so mad. And sometimes I couldn't do anything about it. And there was this guy, he was like Harvey or something. He'd call me up from New York.
I mean, most of the time we'd just be like effing off. And then we'd be like, oh, it's not on. And then we'd like hit play. And they'd be like, I wonder if it had 10 seconds. And then the phone would ring. And like, you kicked this off or something.
Well, sometimes he'd call. I'd see the hotline.
I'd be like, I am poor. I don't know what's going on.
Well, so the hotline would ring. And I would realize in seeing the line flashing that we had let something happen. So I would manually cue it. That way I had an excuse. You know what I mean? Like, so I'd hit it, and then when I'd pick up the phone, I'd be like, oh, it played. Which is still the truth, but...
Daniel's good at, figuring out ways and excuses.
Daniel's good at lying to protect his ass. Is that what you're saying?
It's a nice way of saying
Daniel is good
at lying. Daniel's good at lying.
He'll lie and protect all of us.
That's a quality.
It's a quality.
Let's look at our strengths here. Samantha, ultimate paranoia. Daniel, you're the liar. Tom, me, also the liar. Butler, I got nothing. D-Rog, tell us how we're...
I'm about to go.
I need 5 minutes. I'm about to go 3,000 on him.
I got nothing. Anyway, oh God. We still got more time.
No, I think we're good.
We're good? Okay.
We should be fine.
So, TomandDan.com for all things Tom and Dan. If you go to YouTube, subscribe, like and subscribe and share and put that alert deal on. Just search for Tom and Dan Live. You can watch all of our shows there. I've been putting up huge mega shows and video content's coming out a lot more quickly because we have better machines now. So,
yeah.
Is there anything else we need to plug? Merch, tomanddan.com. There's always merch. We're going to have a buttload of new merch as we ease into your holiday season.
Tom and Dan hookups.
Hey, I'm putting up my Christmas tree this weekend. I think
too.
you're doing it too.
Yeah.
What about you, buddy?
I gotta go after Thanksgiving. But
that only gives you a month.
Yeah. But I can't do before. It's a mental block for me. I don't want to start.
I understand
Christmas until after Thanksgiving.
I'm only doing it just because I need something fun. You know what I mean? Like that's the only reason. This is too early, but I know it's too early.
Right.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, why not? If you're gonna put it up there.
Spoke to the gentleman from Mosquito Nix yesterday. Looks like I'm going to be getting some holiday lights.
Getting those too.
Yeah, they're
pretty
doing
excited about
Samanthas.
that.
I didn't get Butler in there. I was going to be mad because they
in here?
they could only do 3 because the timing. And I was like, okay, well, me, Samantha did.
Oh.
I mean,
does he know?
Homeowners, right?
Yeah. That's another thing too. Like he renting. Don't decorate a rental house.
Doesn't he have enough lights? Can't he just set his Ghostbuster backpack in his driveway and just turn it on and put some Christmas music on?
There should be a rule that you can't decorate a rental house.
Well, if you do, you just have to write rental in lights.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah. There should be
like a scarlet letter, like a big R
a
for rental.
County mandate that it's like, all right, the beautiful lights are that one's a rental.
How come you didn't decorate your eye rent? Oh, I'm sorry. I understand. I understand. Yeah.
Bye-bye.